Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review. This is special number 5, part 1. Yeah, I decided basically, instead of doing a part 3 of special number 4, I decided to just go straight to special number 5. Yep. And this one I'm reviewing 2 of the 4 remaining films I have left. And I'm also giving my thoughts on chapter 882 of the One Piece manga. First is the film, the giant mecha soldier of Karakuri Castle. Yeah, the whole thing of this film is that the film starts out with basically the Straw Hat crew minus. This is actually one of the last films to feature the Going Merry. It's the last one to feature it, and it takes place just prior to the events of Water 7. Yep, takes place before Water 7. And this film is roughly like an hour and I think it's an hour and a half. Let me take a look at just to be sure. Giant Mecha Soldier is an hour and 35 minutes. Yeah, it's an hour. Yeah, that's long. It's a 95-minute movie, and they pretty much and the treasure chest they find has no woman in it, and they talk about this golden crown thing, and they go to this island and they try to find rid of a song that they're given, and before that happens, they're attacked by the island's master, who is a woman's son, and his 2 friends, which is a general and a colonel, and they just go about, and of course, oh yeah, and at first he appears to be a good guy at first, somewhat of a tagging it, like a misunderstanding at first, and it appears he's a good guy for a little while, and oh yeah, he's evil and he wants to take over the world. Yep. Wow. First time he actually had a villain who actually his plan is to take over the world, and he want to make his 2 subordinates, one his vice president, the other one his secretary of state. Okay, fine. And the way he wanted to do is use this this island, which actually is a turtle, and of course, the Straw Hats basically oppose him. And the thing with this film is, this film also has sort of the origin of Gear 2. Yep, the second gear. Of basically Luffy just discovering how to do this ability by accident. You see him use it in the film a couple times. I'm thinking, wait, he can't use Gear 2. He doesn't use it until Endless Lobby. This film is just the origin of how he basically got to use basically when he's battling one of the villain's mechs. Excuse me. Basically he spends a lot of time everyone's fighting these giant mech soldiers, and there's only like 3 villains this whole film, and the villains are not very memorable at all. Apparently the main villain is basically an inventor whose name is Ratchet. Seriously, that's the guy's name, Ratchet, and he wants to take over the world with his turtle, and Straw Hats oppose him, and yeah, not really much else. This was a pretty interesting film to watch. The whole thing with the turtle was quite interesting. Robin gets a lot to do in the film. She basically deciphers the whole ancient thing with this turtle about how it wakes up every 1,000 years, lay eggs, and it's later revealed that these eggs are made of gold. Yeah, but what happens later, I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, all the Straw Hats get a chance to do something. There's at one point when they briefly get separated after they find this hole. So it's basically just Robin, Sanji, and Chopper go out to check out what's going on in this shrine with Turtle, which I think is great. Great use of everybody in the film. Of course, Nami gets a chance to use her climate baton. Usopp doesn't do very much in this film. He's probably the only one of Straw Hat crew who doesn't really do all that much in this film. And like usual, with the way it is before, like at this point, he always cares about Thousand Honey, and this is actually the first one that actually keeps with the continuity of the series, with the whole ship suffering through heavy damage, which, unlike the previous 2 films, despite the fact taking place, some of the films take place before, and one film takes place before, and one takes place after Skypiea, yeah, it doesn't show any damage. This one finally shows damage, so you can kind of say this is actually the first one since I'd say it's the first one since Clockwork Island Adventure that actually is canon with the series. Yeah, it's the first one since the second film that you kind of feel as though, yeah, it's canon. And Water 7 has officially happened yet, so yeah, this count is also the last known official time that the Going Merry is seen. And this is basically like a fun little film, per se. It's a pretty, it's a good, well-paced film. It's the story is it's hour and 95-minute length. It doesn't feel as though it should be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. It feels good length, good fight scenes. It's just that the problem with this film is that the villain's plan is not very original. World domination. And by the way, this is actually the first villain out of all of the One Piece villains to actually have this plan. None of the other One Piece villains, not even the actual series, where their plan is to try to take over the world. Basically, a lot of the time, these villains' plans is to get their hands on money or conquer a small section of the world. That's really it. But to control the whole world, that is something new. Yes. This is original for the One Piece franchise, but not originally comes with villain plans. As for using a giant creature as part of their plans, not technically original, so yeah. So it's original for One Piece, but not original plan overall when it comes to villains' plans I've seen in fiction. But still, great film, great animation, though it's subbed, like a lot of the other films I've watched, except for about 3 of them anyways. And it is a good film. It's not exactly epic in scale like the last couple films were, but it's still a good film nonetheless. And I give the film an 8.5 out of 10, simply because I think I have to point off, mainly because of the fact the play is completely unoriginal. And next I'm talking about the shortest film of the entire film series, Straw Hat Chase, which is the overall, out of the entire film series, it is the 11th film. And this was released in theaters. It was released as part of a double feature. It was double billed with the 3D film for Torco, a series that One Piece has actually crossed over at least 3 times with. Yep. And the whole point of this thing, now it does, some of the stuff I did see in this film are shots that you see from the short that Brook has when he tours the ship. Yeah, a lot of the shots you see from this film, like very early, like the first, I'd say about 3 minutes of the film actually are taken directly from this very short that came before the film. Now, is there a main villain in this film? Just some marine who wants to capture the Straw Hats because of their bounty. But technically, the whole thing is trying to find Luffy's missing hat. That's really the whole point of this film. And this is actually the second film that's not done the traditional animation that One Piece is known for. When I saw the CGI for this particular film, it's the same exact CGI that they used for the Batman Telltale games. No, seriously, it's the same exact CGI. For the characters. The background looks like it's basically very much CGI, but the way the characters' designs are, basically how they sort of move, they move almost exactly like the way they do in the Batman Telltale games. Despite the fact this film came out roughly 6 years ago? Yeah, this film only came out 6 years ago. And the previous film, the first one I talked about, which was the Mecha one, that came out in 2006. Yeah, so the first one is 11 years, and the other one's 6. So yeah, not that old of films per se, but this one's actually pretty fun. A little more fun than the previous film, but as for its length, yeah, it's kind of like this film kind of could have been an episode of the series, but I guess they decided to make it a film that kind of is like a short film in a way, but it is a feature film because it was released in theaters in March of 2011, was released on Blu-ray and DVD in July. Yep. The placement of this particular one, I don't really know. Let me take a look. of what the placement of this thing is, because the other one takes place obviously before Water 7. But what about this one? No, not that one. I honestly don't think there is a canon placement for this thing. Let's see. I'm trying to find it. It's taking a little while. There we go. There you are. Yeah. This particular film is not canon with the series. No. Because I looked it up. Yeah, I'm trying to think of where his placement for this one isn't. Basically, Zoro does something he's never shown doing in the series. Cut through Sea Stone. He's never shown doing this in the series. And I guess they probably figured, okay, it's not canon, so let's just have Luffy do whatever he wants. Also, Robin's coat that she wears in this film, it's the same coat that she wore in Water 7 and Edo's Lobby. Yeah, it's the same exact coat. My guess is she probably still had it at Edo's Lobby. Also, when you get a chance to see Usopp's pajamas, it's all themed with the Going Merry. Yeah, which I thought was quite hilarious, to say the least. But this film was actually pretty good. Even though the film was quite short, it's still a enjoyable film nonetheless, and I give the film a 9 out of 10. Even though it's actually a little bit better than the last film, because it's just a quick film. It's just a pure fun film to watch. That's basically what it is. But now on to chapter 882 for the One Piece manga. This chapter, which obviously came out today, finally, I think came out basically, about a day or two late than usual. I think the last time was released, the last chapter was released on the 4th. Yeah, it's actually released a couple days later than it was that I read the last one. This one is mostly just Luffy versus one of what's his name? I kind of forgot the guy's name. I know he's one of Big Mom's sons. I had to look him up here. Yeah, it's basically more of his fight in the mirror world. His sister does show up a couple times. Also, Caesar Clown shows up in here as well, which is interesting, the fact that he does do that. Yep. First time in probably about 10 chapters I've seen him. I think the last time I saw him was basically when he got his heart back, and apparently looks like he's still working for Big Mom in a way. Yeah. That's what it kind of looks like to me. I have to look at the guy's name here. What's the name of the... Let's see. I'm looking him up right now. What's the name of the member, the one who's Luffy is fighting? Because he's fighting it for the past, 3 chapters now. Let's see here. Katakuri, yes. He's fighting him in Mirror World, and that is mentioned that the Nami has finished Luffy's task of basically breaking all the mirrors on the Straw Hat ship, so that basically he doesn't get to the ship. And Big Mom has basically stopped chasing the Straw Hat ship, which she's been chasing now for about 3 chapters. So yeah, she stopped chasing them. She's heading to the island. She's heading to Nut Island now because she found out there is gonna be wedding cake. It's being made right now, so she can calm down. So yeah, it's starting to look like right now this particular arc definitely does look like it's gonna wrap up pretty soon because, well, the only thing left to do is just have Luffy beat the one of Big Mom's sons. Now, I'm not really sure why Caesar Clown was being featured in this chapter, but he was. But I don't know if anybody's ever pointed out, though, that basically Badil, who was the 8th daughter of Big Mom, I don't know if anybody has pointed this out, of how she and Caesar Clown look almost exactly like, except she's more of a female version of him, and she doesn't do the whole crazy laugh thing that Caesar Clown is known for. Basically, appearance-wise, she looks almost exactly like him, except she's just a female version of him. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Caesar Clown basically is offered a political marriage with... I wouldn't be surprised if somehow basically she and Caesar Clown basically somehow meet in the future and somehow hook up. It's like, yeah, if they meet, it's like, hey, you got the same nose I do. I don't know. Maybe they used to relate it. I don't know. It's just how Oda draws them. But it's kind of weird, though, to have two characters look almost exactly like, physically almost like exactly like, except you have a woman, a male, except you have a female version of Caesar Clown. That's simply what it is. Caesar Clown himself is only seen for about a couple pages in this chapter. Luffy is seen a lot more in this chapter than he was in the past couple of chapters, where in the past 2 chapters, he's only seen about 3 pages. This one he's seen for almost the entire chapter, except for about 3 pages, which is better than what he's been doing the past couple of chapters, which is great. Hopefully, when the next chapter comes out, that they don't take as long to release the next chapter as this one. This one took 16 days to come out. I get the fact, yeah, it took a week off last week, but this one took a little bit longer than expected. To come out. I kept hoping when this chapter has come out, and also for some reason the website I used to read the manga, for some reason they decided to have chapter 881 it's basically 881. It's just told twice. The chapters there twice for some reason, and also the name of this chapter is all about Yanako. I think it's like Kill Yongo, I think is basically, yeah, and the cover story is just, well, the Totem tribe basically being on one of the Orbis ships, and you see like a little thing of them, and that's really it. Yep. Oh, I almost forgot, for that particular chapter, it was a good chapter, great advancement of the story, definitely does look like the story's moving forward, and finally the German 66, basically the Thought Smoke family, finally featuring these guys. First time since, I say chapter 778. It's been a few chapters since we've seen them. One thing I forgot to mention for Giant Mecha Soldier of Karakuri Castle, when they show the credits, instead of having the characters speak, they all basically have speech bubbles. Every single one. And this happens like in the Golden Crown, what it is, it's the eggs, and they try to take it to Water 7. They said, along with the stuff they got from Scott Island and stuff like that. And then for some reason, the gold just disappears. Yeah, it's quite bizarre. But I kind of get the reason why they did that, because they didn't have in the series, so why keep it? Yeah. But yeah. So that's really it for this video. So stay tuned for part 2, where I discuss the last 2 films of the series, which is... my opinions of these things. Desert Princess and the Pirates, Adventures in Alabasta, which is the abridged version of the Alabasta arc, and Episode Chopper plus Bloom in Winter, Miracle Cherry Blossom, which is basically a remake of the Drum Kingdom arc. I will give my opinions of those 2 in the next part, okay? But until I see you all in my next video, bye.